Hello! So this is a record for me, 2 videos in 1 week, I know. So today I just kind of wanted to talk about my Roaccutane experience. If you follow my blog you'll know that I went to the dermatologist in January and have been on Roaccutane since then. And I just wanted to clear up a few things about what people think about the drug, kind of the bad press that it gets, and my experience basically. So I'm just going to get on with it. This is Roaccutane. They're just like a jelly capsule of 20 milligrams of isotetranoin, which is the medical term for it. Roaccutane is branded as Accutane in the US, so obviously if you're watching this abroad, that is the same thing as what we get in the UK. So I have been on Roaccutane since January, as I said. I started my dose as 1 every other day, then it was up to 1 every day, and I'm currently on 1 every other day, alternate, one day and 2 the next day, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. That was really confusing. It does go off your body weight, so I don't know what that works out, but that is my prescription and that is what the dermatologist suggests. So Accutane is something that you can only get from the dermatologist. It's not something that you can just walk in your GPs and pick up, and I think it's a pretty controlled medication because of the side effects that it can have. So I'll run through a few of the side effects that I've had and kind of the bad press that Accutane does get. So I'm sure if you suffer from acne, you'll have heard of this medication. It does get a lot of bad press because it can have some awful side effects. It has effects on on pregnant ladies, on their fetus, so you cannot get pregnant on this medication. You cannot take this medication if you're pregnant because it is so dangerous for the baby. So you do have to sign an agreement that you won't try for a child, or you aren't pregnant, and you do have to have an initial pregnancy test before you go onto the medication. Other side effects, 1 in 10,000 is depression, and I think it's a little bit more for that, 1 in maybe 100,000 for suicidal thoughts and things like that, which obviously are horrific side effects, and that is why this medication is so controlled. And you do actually have to do a small test before you take the medication, or well, I did have to do a small test before I took the medication, just to check out my mental health well-being and whether I was suitable for the drug and whether the drug would be suitable for me. So we've got to bear in mind here that I've suffered from acne for nearly 10 years. This was literally last resort, so if you have only just got a pimple in the last couple of weeks, this definitely isn't the medication for you. I was referred to dermatology after, I can't even imagine how many times I've been to the doctors about my acne. And it was predominantly on my face until last year when it started on my back with very big cystic acne. Very sore. On my face has always been kind of them awful yellow heads, and very painful around my chin area and my forehead. So the medication itself stops the production of oil in the skin, so therefore obviously makes the skin very dry, which is why moisturiser is really important while you're on this medication. But it also makes everything else very dry, so my eyes are very dry, so therefore I can't wear my contact lenses very often. That's why I'm sat so close to this camera, because I can't see. My nose, inside my nose, is very dry and has caused a lot of nosebleeds, which is something that I've never ever experienced. My lips, as you can see, are very dry. This is pretty good for them because I've just applied some lip seal before I start this video. Obviously my skin's very dry, but it isn't as dry as it has been. I think your body kind of adapts to the Roaccutane and accepts it eventually. Other than that, I had a few stomach pains at the beginning of the course of Roaccutane, a couple of sick feeling days, but nothing really to write home about. And you may notice that my skin is slightly redder than the rest, my face is slightly redder than the rest of my neck, just because that is something that the Roaccutane causes, and this is something that will go within time after I come off the course of Roaccutane. So you can take the Roaccutane, I believe, for up to 6 months before you have a break. I am now on week 14ish. So I'm over halfway, which is good news, and I'm back at the dermatologist on the 20th of March. Now, I've been very pleased with the results of the Roaccutane on my face. I've not necessarily been as pleased with the results on my back, although the main body of my back that I was suffering with the acne is going, but it has left a lot of scarring, so I will have to speak to the dermatologist about what he suggests for the scarring and things like that. But I am still suffering with quite cystic acne on my back, and as I say, I will have to speak to the dermatologist about what he suggests for that, whether he wants me to stay on the Roaccutane and up to maybe 2 a day rather than alternate days. But I'll just have to see what he says. So in no way am I condoning this medication as being a miracle, because it is such a long process. It's not quick. It's hard work. It's not a nice thing to have to go through because of the dryness, and it's very irritating. And some days you wake up and I've had blood on my pillow from when my nose has bled during the night, or when my lips have bled, or if my back has bled, because I've had like an increased bleeding time with the Roaccutane. If I knock a spot on my face when I'm washing my face, it's like I've cut myself with a razor, so it'll bleed and bleed and bleed and bleed until the end of time. And the only other thing I've noticed with the Roaccutane is the type of spot that I get, if I do get them, is more an under the skin spot rather than a yellow head. I don't actually know what the technical term is, but that is what I've been suffering with. But obviously, as you can see at the minute, my face for me is very, very clear. I'm never going to be 100% happy with my skin. I'm never going to be one of those girls that walks around every day without any makeup on, but I do feel like I can now leave the house without makeup on and not feel like I'm getting stared at. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you've got acne, you'll understand. And I can now look people in the eye when I've got no makeup on and not think they are judging me, because that's just the way that I felt initially. So yeah, that's my experience on Roaccutane. As I say, I'm not suggesting that this is a medication for everyone, because I don't doubt for a second that it's definitely not the right medication for everyone. It does have horrific side effects, but if you are desperate and if your dermatologist suggests it, speak to them about it.